See, inflammation is the number one thing in OA. Arthritis, itis itself means inflammation.
And basically, it's the whole pain acceptance thing, because you want people to be able to accept that they have pain, but you also want them to distinguish between pain and suffering.
90% of cases are non-surgical, only 10% or 20% of the population requires a surgery when it comes to an OA knee.
Hello and welcome to Honestly Speaking with 360 Plus, your companion to holistic healing. I'm your host Anjana, and through the series, we're exploring every aspect of osteoarthritis to help you take charge of your health. At 360 Plus, we bring together the wisdom of Ayurveda and the best of modern science to get you expert-backed strategies for a lifetime of good joint health. Today, we're speaking to Dr. Fatima Soni, a physiotherapist with multiple clinics in Mumbai, and with Aisha Vaswani, a psychologist who has worked with the NHS in UK. And our focus for the episode today is on senior adults dealing with osteoarthritis at varying degrees. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for making the time to be here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Dr. Fatima, if I can start with you, we want to talk about, as I said, the whole point of today's episode is that we're talking about senior adults and and older adults. And independence is such an important part of life, I think, for everyone at every stage. So one of the important things that I wanted to start talking to you about is just the fact that when we're talking about older adults, and the minute they say that they've got pain, any kind of pain, especially in India, our tendency is to tell them, "Acha, aap kaam mat karo. आप ज़रा बैठ जाइए, काम मत कीजिए." How detrimental is that, or is that the correct approach?
It is the worst thing to do. According to a physio, we always say that rest is rust. So at any age, at any point of time, or with any aches or pains, if you are resting, you're just going to deteriorate your condition. It's not going to get better anyway. So in this case, you have to keep moving, and moving in the presence of a professional. You should not be looking at online videos and just start doing exercises, but you should definitely consult your physio or your ortho and go through a proper protocol of treatment. Resting is not the solution for anything, according to my experience.
When you say consult an orthopedic, don't go through YouTube videos, wouldn't you say that there's some sort of value in actually referring to those sort of that sort of content? Because I mean, at least at the earlier stages, maybe not at the later stages. Or do you think when it's senior citizens, because a fall can really cause a lot of other problems, so it's best to be cautious?
So in my entire professional career, I've seen a lot of patients who go through online videos and come with even worse conditions. So I would recommend, just to start with, you can visit a professional, and that the same professional is going to provide online consultations or online advice to you. And when you are at a particular age, doing any activity without a proper supervision can deteriorate your condition furthermore. So I would recommend that for starters, just visit one or call a doctor home if possible, or take an online consult, but never do it on your own altogether.
Okay. Thank you for that. Aisha, I wanted to also ask you about now with when it comes to older adults with osteoarthritis, is it possible that, especially when you have senior citizens who have osteoarthritis and they don't have any assistance, can they believe that they have osteoarthritis and such conditions even if they don't? Just some kind of pain, and they start to automatically believe it to be much worse than it really is?
I think older people, from what I've seen, they deal with a lot of pain and like stiffness, muscle stiffness throughout their lives. So especially like as you get older, and so a lot of them, kind of when you're talking to them in therapy, will say, "Oh, I have arthritis," or "I have osteoarthritis," and when you kind of break it down, it's actually that they haven't been to a doctor, they have not gotten it diagnosed yet, but it's kind of the assumption of, "Oh, I'm older now and this is just an inevitable part of aging and therefore I have osteoarthritis." And that can be really detrimental to the person, because obviously then you think you aren't able to do certain things, you're not getting the right treatment, you're not going, a lot of them don't go to the doctor because they don't want to find out that they have arthritis. So
So they just sort of, so it restricts, you put these sort of self-impose these restrictions on your own
yeah,
life.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Dr. Soni, if so, osteoarthritis, like so many other things, it's a normal part of aging, right? And I mean, not everyone gets osteoarthritis, but it is a normal part of aging. So, and as you said, with especially when it comes to older adults, it's hard to tell, right? I mean, people sometimes even family members feel, okay, you're exaggerating your pain, or it's just some kind of ache and pain. You're an old person, you're going to get aches and pains. How can one differentiate between what is normal wear and tear and when it's a cause for concern in older adults?
So people go through normal pain, aches and pains on a daily basis. And when you have crossed like your 50s or 60s, it's very normal. Even if you visit us, we would be like, okay, let's get some diagnostic tools involved in this. And then we'll be able to decide whether your pain is because of an X condition or it's just a normal muscle weakness or something. And when it comes to OA, the classical symptoms are you have pain in a certain part of your knee joint. There is difficulty in bending your knee completely. People will find, like I have seen elder individuals, they cannot do basic activities. They are unable to do basic activities because of pain. Climbing
Yeah.
stairs being one of the most important things.
They can't climb stairs.
They are finding
Struggle
it
to.
very difficult to climb stairs. They have constant pain while climbing stairs. Getting up from your toilet seat. This is one problem which 90% of my patients go through. So yeah, because the commode chairs are not of an appropriate height.
Yes, yes.
So
of
because
course.
of that, they struggle getting up from the chair, or even like getting up from a sofa, because when you sit on a lower sofa, you have to put a lot of pressure on your hip and your knee joints to get up. So they struggle doing these things. So when a patient struggles with these things, it's kind of an alarming situation in which you have to visit a doctor and take a proper consultation and get to a proper diagnosis. It's very important. So the later you visit a professional, the later it is diagnosed, and
The
like
more
the
damage is already
control,
caused,
yeah,
yeah.
control is very difficult at that stage.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
earlier you visit your ortho or your physio, the earlier you diagnose it and treat it. That's the entire point.
Yeah, the reason I reacted the way I did earlier was because I had visited somebody's home once, and the washroom had like an attachment.
Yeah, it's a
because-
commode razor.
Yeah.
So depending upon the height of the patient, the inches of the commode razor are decided. And even after a surgery, there are certain things to be followed. And in that case, also a commode razor is installed in your normal commode.
How interesting. I
Yeah.
wonder why they don't just make them like that in the first place, then if it's better for your knees.
Yeah.
So, Aisha, I wanted to ask you something that I asked Dr. Soni earlier as well. Now, in India, when you have an older person who has osteoarthritis or pain, our tendency out of respect and affection is to say, aap mat kijiye, aap gir jaoge. We want to take care of them. But how detrimental is that to one's self-esteem? How does that impact one's self-esteem? And what are the repercussions of that?
I think, I think I'm also like guilty of, with my nanny, I will always be like, I'll do it, you don't do it. But then I have to catch myself, because it's actually, if someone's able to do something, you should always let them do it. Especially when you're working with people who are older and people who have osteoarthritis, it's really important to encourage activity and to promote independence. Like the commode that you're talking about, these things, these tools that you can install in your own house, whether it's like support to help you get up the stairs or like a walking aid that's gonna have, everything is to try and promote independence physically, but also like to help that person feel independent in their own life, because you don't want someone just looking after you all the time. And so
So if it affects your self-esteem, if it affects your self-confidence, then can that also sort of, again, exacerbate osteoarthritis?
Yeah.
Because again, then you just don't want to go out of your home.
Yeah, so like psychologically it can worsen it, but also physically it can worsen it, because obviously that leads to
moving
muscle
less.
decline. You lose muscle, more stiffness, and then you can have functional issues because of that. But then psychologically, of course, like if you're not going to do something, you're going to develop like either fear or like an avoidance to doing it in the future, and then it just makes other things like going out of the house, socializing, exercising, all of these things that you would do on a normal basis, you're no longer doing. So actually a lot of older people describe when they have arthritis, they describe it as like feeling grief almost, because it's a loss of their older selves and their older identities.
That's very true. That's very true. This is something which even I come across on almost a daily basis. So they always come to me and they're like, I could do this earlier. मैं पहले ये कर सकती थी, but अब 6 महीने से मैं ये कर ही नहीं सकती हूँ, and मुझे बहुत बुरा लग रहा है कि मैं ये नहीं कर सकती.
It's crippling, no?
It is
Stability.
crippling, yeah. And after a particular age, when you do not have a job or anything otherwise, it is very depressing also to just sit in one place and not being able to do something because of pain. That's the worst thing to experience.
Absolutely. And, especially I think when you're getting older, especially when you're getting older, because you feel that you're losing out on so many different aspects of your
That's
life
true.
one by one.
That's true.
So I want to ask you, so there are these mind-body exercises. There's Tai Chi, for example, and yoga, the support strength. There's so many different things that one can do to work on flexibility, to work on balance, right? But is there something that older adults can do? I know you said speak to a doctor first, make sure that they take you through what you should be doing. Don't just refer to content that's available readily on YouTube and other platforms. But are there exercises, when you take these exercises like yoga and whatever else, do you adapt them for older adults?
So
Based on maybe their mobility?
yes. So every patient is different, and exercise protocol for every patient is very tailor-made. Right? And when it comes to yoga and Tai Chi and other forms of exercises, I believe that if you have a pathology involved, you should not directly jump to yoga or Tai Chi. First, you should get it diagnosed properly. I am a very firm believer of a proper diagnosis, because that is going to take you a long way. If your diagnosis is incorrect, you're going to be in a mess. So first, go through a proper diagnosis. Yoga and Tai Chi should be done with a healthy body, or after you have taken a proper consultation and the doctor recommends you to do yoga or Tai Chi. You can't directly jump to that for maintaining your mobility and increasing your muscle strength. So that is what I strongly believe in: a proper diagnosis and a patient with a pathology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, so studies obviously show, and it's a common sense thing really, that exercise, consistent exercise is really the key, right? What happens with older adults, and we've had doctors on this podcast earlier who've talked about, especially with older adults, but a lot of osteoarthritis patients, even at younger ages, where they will start with the regimen and then they will just stop or slow it down and then just give up on it.
Yeah,
It's an issue that you've been facing as well. So
yes.
what strategies, or what would you say to them to sort of make sure that they stay the distance?
I, on a personal basis, when I'm seeing an older adult, so what I do is I will make the exercise protocol in a very fun way. I'll design it in a fun way, which will include their day-to-day activities in a fun way, in an entertaining way. So for instance, if a patient has to grab something from the top, I'm talking about a general thing, not from the perspective of OA. So if you have to grab something from the top, so initially we will place some things on the top, or I will do reach outs to the patient so that the patient improves their balance and reaches out to me. When it comes to getting up from the sofa, when it comes to your knee, so I will give them like a treat at the end of the session, that if you're able to do this, then tomorrow we will probably, we'll do one exercise less, or I'll make a change in your exercise. So basically, I feel that senior citizens are like kids.
Yeah.
So you have to treat them in that particular way. And I have worked so much with elder adults, I have understood how they think, their psychology and stuff. So I know that if you give them a rishwat, they're definitely going to do what you say. And they do tend to get bored. So in that, you should keep on, having variations in your exercises. If you keep on doing the same monotonous thing every single day, nobody is going to do it. Forget about an older adult. हम भी नहीं करेंगे. That is what I believe.
Yeah, but typically for somebody with OA, a senior citizen with OA, because you said every day, is the exercise routine something they have to do every day?
Yes, they should be doing it every day
So what
because
is
your
the
muscles.
duration?
Sorry.
The duration?
See, ideally, it should be done for 3 to 6 months. Like if you are talking about the long-term thing, but a daily protocol of 30 to 40 minutes every single day, it is very important because your muscles get into atrophy.
I
The
see.
lesser you use your muscles, it'll shrink.
Yeah.
Atrophy is basically shrinking of your muscles. So it'll go into atrophy. If you're just sitting, your muscles are not toned. They are basically losing their tone. And that is the worst thing when it comes to an OA case.
Yeah, and that's something that I think all of us are guilty of because
Yes.
desk jobs and sedentary
Right.
lives. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So Aisha, from a psychological standpoint, why do older adults stop exercising?
I think it's like what you said earlier was relevant, where people kind of want to do their best for them, so also like kind of protective about them and like don't want
As in
them
family
to,
and
yeah,
assistants
like,
and people around them don't want them to do it.
I think that plays a part, but I think there's also other things. So where they lose self-esteem, where they lose confidence, where, for example, if you have a fall, because sometimes people with osteoarthritis might have falls because of pain and things like that.
Yeah.
After you have a fall, it's so hard to, because they develop a sense of fear sometimes around it. They don't want to fall again. There's and that's what keeps people from like getting up basically again and doing it.
That's such a vicious cycle.
Yeah, so exactly, it's a vicious cycle. But I think particularly for older people, because it's not only where you're getting it at your own house where people will do things for you and so you don't have to, but like if you go out on the road, someone might like just out of like kindness do things for you. But that might mean that you're not doing any of the things that you used to do. So hence they just feel discouraged and therefore stop exercising and things like that.
Sure. Dr. Soni, physical therapy can improve mobility and confidence in daily life, right? So can you share any success stories that you have had with senior adults?
I would say this is like my daily bread and butter. This is something I do on a day-to-day basis. A recent success story was I saw this patient. She's a very old patient of mine who keeps coming to me for multiple reasons. So she recently just finished her puja. She was having a knee pain, like bilateral. Both her knees were hurting. And she finished her puja in the morning and she happened to sneeze. And because of that sneeze, she had a fall. She already had weak knees. Yeah. And because of the fall, she injured her back.
Oh, God.
So there were like multiple issues. As she just mentioned that because of that sedentary life and pain, people get more susceptible to falls. This is very common, loss of balance in senior citizens. And your knee joint and your hip joint and your back, like it's a complete chain. It plays a major role. So that patient was in tremendous pain when I saw her. Yeah. And she developed this fear that I will not be able to walk alone ever again. First, it was I'll not be able to walk. And then when the pain settled, it was like I'll not be able to walk alone ever again. I will need somebody next to me, some assistant along with a walking aid. So our job is to even guide the patient that no, it's an accident. It happens with everybody. It has happened, but you can definitely get back on your feet. And I met that patient yesterday only, and she's planning to go to Coorg for a vacation. Nice. She's all fit and fine.
Yeah.
So it's just a part of life, I feel, but you definitely should work on it. She's traveling to Coorg because she did what she was supposed to do. If you're just sitting at home and expecting things to get better for you, they won't. You have to work on it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So I live with my mom, and she's a senior citizen. She doesn't have osteoarthritis, but she does have issues with her knees. And we're very careful about things like, I remember, because you mentioned Coorg for a holiday. I remember when we were looking for little vacation destinations, one of the things that held me back was that the ground in some places is a lot of, it's bumpy. But would you say then people should actually face those challenges or best to avoid them?
No, people
when
should.
you have OA?
You can. Why not? If you follow a proper exercise regimen, you can definitely do everything. Like, I have patients who are 90 years old. I recently had a patient who was 93 or 94, and it was her granddaughter's wedding. And she was having severe pain in her knee. And the first day when I saw her, she was like, I want to wear a dress and I want to dance in her wedding. And that's where I reached. Of course, it's a time consuming process,
Yeah.
but we definitely get there. If you are doing goal oriented things, you can reach there, and there is no restriction as such if you're exercising on a daily basis and doing balance training, because that uneven surface will cause a lot of loss of balance. So you need to do balance training, and in physiotherapy, we make patients walk on different surfaces so that they have that proprioception, the sense of touch and everything, so that they're able to maintain their balance even if there is a change of location, because your flooring will be different everywhere. So senior citizens face this a lot कि मैं रास्ते पे चलती हूँ ना तो मुझे डर लगता है, but घर में मुझे डर नहीं लगता, because that is a very known thing to you. That is a fear of unknown. So we train them in different surfaces,
And is
different
that with
areas.
shoes or is that barefoot?
Everything. I prefer training them with shoes, without shoes, but I would recommend to walk with shoes.
So do you recommend to your patients also any supplements? Because I believe things like curcumin and undenture type 2 collagen, and all of these can really be helpful as well. So do you recommend that as well?
Yes, they do. So we have seen people suffering from pain because of deficiency of these things as well, like mainly your calcium supplements, and curcumin plays a major role in pain relief and reduction in inflammation. So, and type 2 collagen works on the muscles and the ligaments. So muscles are like the supportive structures for your bone. When it comes to OA, there is degeneration of the cartilage and the bone, right? So muscles will support the joint. If your muscles also, so that degenerative change is not going to change. It is going to stay the way it is. You can just prevent it from worsening it. So what these things will do is it will strengthen the surrounding structures, that is your muscles and the your ligaments, which are the stability, like they are so important for the stability. If that is strong enough, your joint is going to be stable. So it's very important according to me, and it does work. I have seen patients taking those supplements and their pain reduces. So yeah, it does work.
Oh, that's very interesting. And Aisha, how have you seen the impact of, or have you seen the impact of mobility exercises on the mental health of senior citizens?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, as it's a vicious cycle, what maintains anxiety, stress, depression, and OA, there's also a cycle when it comes to prevention and treatment. So things like mobility exercises, they really help because they are helping build confidence, but they are also helping you feel better, like how exercise would help anyone feel better. So it's also helping you on the psychological part as it's helping you towards your recovery and rehabilitation. And
Yeah. Just connected in relation to that. I mean, I know this entire episode focuses on older adults, but we're all getting older. We're all going to be there someday. So these mobility exercises, is this something that you would recommend people start earlier on? Because we all walk. I think everybody walks. People jog, or they do Pilates, or they do other different sort of exercises as well. But mobility exercises, what I see my mom doing, those are quite different from I think even simple things like just getting up on your toes and down, right? How many people actually do it? Right? Unless you have a trainer who's making you do it, you don't really do all of these sort of exercises. So are there some exercises that you feel people should be doing even when they're younger, especially if we have desk jobs or sedentary lives?
Yeah, definitely. The earlier you start, the better it is for you. A stitch in time saves 9, right? Yeah. So you should actually start early. So what I've seen is a lot of people do not even know what mobility exercises are.
Exactly, yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that, of course, you need to, start early and meet a professional who would train you in it. And it's not like you have to go to a professional every time you want to exercise. You can just learn those exercises and start putting them in your day-to-day routine. And talking about people having desk jobs, oh God, you do not know how bad their neck and back is, especially, and their knees as well,
Yeah.
because of the
Find myself
bad
sitting on
posture,
stage.
because they sit in a chair for long hours. We do not recommend people to sit in one place for more than 30 minutes because that is going to cause a lot of loading of your spine and eventually cause a lot of back pain and knee pain. And we do not even have proper ergonomics when you are at work. So
yeah.
that is another problem.
Uh-huh.
So starting early is so very important, because when you reach your 60s, if you have started doing these mobility exercises in your 30s or your 40s, you will not feel 60 when you're 60.
Right.
Yeah, you will feel a lot more mobile and
Sure.
independent when you're
Absolutely.
doing all those exercises early. So I have seen people in their 60s who are extremely dependent because they did not do exercises, and people in their 80s who are absolutely independent because they were working out on a regular basis. And I would like to add that working at home is different from working out.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I have seen a lot of females, they come to me
Yeah.
and they're like, हम तो घर का
घर
पूरा
का
काम
करते हैं।
करते हैं.
हाँ.
So that is not working out.
Yeah.
That is like you're doing your job, ठीक
Yeah.
है. But working out में you are specific, like
Focusing
you're
on-
focusing on specific group of muscles,
Right.
like your pelvic floor, your core,
Yeah.
your shoulder muscles. That's
Right.
that's a
Whole
entirely
different ball
different.
game.
Yeah, it's a different ball game altogether.
Right.
So working and working out are
Yeah.
two different things.
So give me a couple of examples, if you can, of something. So, like you said, people are saying that I'm ghar mein kaam karte hain, and sure, like I said, also people go for a walk or they may go to the gym. What are some sort of things, areas or muscles that they ignore? What exercises can they do to not ignore them to sort of prevent OA?
Okay, so to prevent OA, we have to focus on your quadriceps, hamstrings, your calf muscles, that is your gastrosoleus, which we just ignore completely. So a basic standing on your toes, raising your toes, holding it for 5 seconds with the help of a support. Like you should always take a support when it's a senior citizen. Doing basic activities like getting up from the chair and sitting back, and doing multiple repetitions of the same. Single leg standing, high marches, sitting on a chair and bending forward, just raising your leg up and sitting down. I would say that just lifting your leg up, straightening it and putting it back down, if you just do it for like 100 times in a day, you will have a very healthy knee. Just if you just start with these basic
So
exercises
literally,
early.
if I'm sitting in my office, just going like this,
Yes.
just like that?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
You can do this like 100 times a day. It's really good for your knee joint, and it will prevent you from developing OA if you start early, of course. It will not help you after you have developed an OA. After that, there's a different set of exercises, but these things are very helpful to maintain the muscle around the joint.
Okay, that's interesting. And I wanted to also ask you, I know I did ask you about supplements earlier, but there are anti-inflammatory properties of ingredients like Boswellia serrata and curcumin, and can those enhance the outcomes of exercise regimens?
It does. So whenever we start treating a patient will come with pain. So first we have to focus on reduction of pain, then only the patient is able to perform exercises better. If I bombard the patient with a lot of exercises and the patient is suffering from a lot of pain, the exercises are not done efficiently. So these supplements definitely reduces the pain. See, inflammation is the number one thing in OA. Arthritis, itis itself means inflammation. Anything with itis in the end means inflammation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So these supplements will reduce the inflammation inside, and we even recommend patients to apply a lot of ice, because ice again settles down the inflammation. Once the inflammation settles, pain will settle and you'll be able to perform exercises better. So it's a complete cycle,
Yeah.
right?
And would you say that it's better to maybe use these sort of pain relief methods vis-a-vis something allopathic? Or depends on the kind of pain?
It depends upon the
Yeah,
kind
because
of
if
pain.
it's very severe,
If it is
then-
very chronic and if nothing is taking care of it, you have
Yes.
to take an allopathic source. But if it is in the early stages,
Yeah, then you
it
can
can be
manage.
taken care of, because allopathic will come with its set of side effects.
Right.
So you have to take into consideration that as well. And when it comes to a senior citizen, they come with a lot of comorbidities, meaning your diabetes, blood pressure, all of those things. So in those conditions, you're already on medications which are giving you side effects. So in that case, you have to be very mindful about what you are consuming.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Be careful about your liver and your kidneys and all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Aisha, can mental health therapy, in addition to say physiotherapy, can that help osteoarthritis patients?
Yeah, I think so. What you said about comorbidities as well, like there are also mental health comorbidities, and especially with this population of older adults, then who have physical health problems, OA, and also these mental health problems, and then also social problems like isolation or being in retirement, so loneliness, things like that. It's really important to have different people supporting you in their care, so like using like a multidisciplinary approach, a holistic approach to their health. And so with regards to the mental health side of things, there's lots of different therapies. I know you spoke about adapting the therapy, like the physio that you
Exercises to
yeah,
to
the
suit
physio
you.
that you deliver.
mobility. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can also, there's also adapted cognitive behavioral therapy, which is specifically adapted for chronic pain and long-term health conditions. And they kind of target things like, for example, like when you have a lot of pain, there's also pain catastrophizing, which is just like your outlook on pain. And also the fact of like, oh, what's the point? Like I'm never,
I'm not gonna get
it's gonna be
better.
so painful. Like it's gonna be the worst it's ever been, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that just prevents a lot of people from feeling just okay with what's happening, but also
Sort of doing what you have to do and being proactive.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
as you said, even going out on the road, people may be afraid to do it because, oh,
Yeah.
catastrophizing, as you said, oh,
Yeah.
I'll have a fall, it's going to
Yeah.
be worse, I'm going to get worse.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
like the pain catastrophizing, then there's also like their belief about their pain and their recovery and things, which
Right.
affects, like if they feel like they might get better, they do get better, and they are able to adapt to the pain and things.
Yes.
Then there's also like
So
a different
the importance
model.
of, sorry to cut, but the importance of a positive mindset.
Yeah, positive mindset, exactly.
Right.
So CBT helps with those things, but then there's also another form of therapy, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. And basically it's the whole pain acceptance thing, because you want people to be able to accept that they have pain, but you also want them to distinguish between pain and suffering. So
How interesting.
yeah, so pain is like, that is an inevitable thing, and like when they're able to accept that this is just how I'm going to feel, and distinguish between, okay, but there's also my experience of the pain, which is the suffering, and that is what I'm in control of.
Yeah.
So
it's almost philosophical. I mean, I think all of us
Yeah.
can apply that.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
actually,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So the pain is something you can't really help. Or the pain you can help,
Yeah.
but the pain is something that you will have to deal
Yeah.
with. How you deal with that pain
Yes.
or your level of suffering is
Yeah.
depends on you,
You.
how proactive you want to be, whether you're going to do your exercise. What an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's very interesting. So we have a myth busting round. And what that is it's not a rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, but you can elaborate on it and, by all means discuss it if you feel like you want to. Yeah. Dr. Soni, so osteoarthritis is an inevitable part of aging and all seniors will develop it. True or false?
False, absolutely false. Not all seniors develop osteoarthritis. If you're exercising on a daily basis, you're definitely not going to develop osteoarthritis. But if you are living a very sedentary lifestyle, जिसमें पानी का glass भी तुम्हें कोई और लाके दे रहा है, तो definitely you're going to develop that. And to deal with that, of course, again, mobility training is very, very important. So it's absolutely false. It's not like one size fits all. No.
Yeah.
It's not like that.
How about if I had an injury as a child, then is it guaranteed I'm going to have osteoarthritis as I grow up?
No.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Okay,
No.
so it really depends on how
If
my
you have had an
muscles are,
injury
whether
as
they're
a
strong.
child,
Yeah.
you would have taken care of
Care
that
of it,
injury,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
would have exercised to
Yes.
make your knee stronger.
Yes,
So it does
presumably.
not mean that you're going to develop an OA in the later stage of life.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, fair. And Aisha, mentally accepting that you have osteoarthritis will make the pain worse.
I don't think so. I think that it depends on case to case. I think mentally accepting that you have OA, again, like I said, it can be helpful, but it depends. Like you, there are certain people who say I have OA and therefore I don't have to do anything anymore. Like there's no point.
Yeah.
So
The
if
condition
that
becomes who you are.
yeah, and so that is not helpful. But obviously, if you accept it and decide, okay, this is what I have, and these are all the things I can do to help myself get better, then that.
Then that's going to have a better result, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. And Dr. Soni, joint pain in retirement means joint replacement surgery is unavoidable. True or false?
It's absolutely false. So, what I have seen, and I mean, it's forget about what I have seen. 90% of cases are non-surgical only.
Even for senior citizens?
Even for senior citizens, 90% of cases are non-surgical. Only 10% or 20% of the population requires a surgery when it comes to an OA knee. Otherwise, it can be taken care of with, of course, mobility exercises, strength training, balance training. You will avoid falls, you will increase your muscle strength, you will stabilize your joint. So, and we have seen, especially in India, that surgery is overprescribed. It is really not important. If you are going through a correct channel of doctors, honest doctors, you can definitely save yourself from surgery. It's not required.
You know, we had a sports medicine specialist on our show some time ago, and a very interesting thing that he said was go by the way you feel as opposed to even what the results show, what the scans show. So he said if it's not crippling your life, if it's not debilitating and you can do things, then don't just go by, okay, this is what my scan shows, therefore.
I was actually going to add here that you should think about about a surgery only when you are unable to walk, when the disease becomes crippling. Otherwise, you need not think of a surgery, because that's again a foreign object which is put in your body, and your body takes a really long time to adapt to that particular orthosis which is put inside. So unless and until you're not able to do your basic ADS, that is activities of daily living, independently, then you should think about a surgery. Otherwise, you should not be like, oh, my X-ray is showing complete degeneration, but I'm not feeling the symptoms. Okay, good, you're not feeling the symptoms. Work upon the surrounding muscles. You're not feeling the symptoms. But in a case where you just cannot get up from your chair without two people pulling you up, okay, that is an alarming situation. You should see an orthopedic and think about a surgery, but not otherwise.
So Aisha, if someone has pain because of osteoarthritis, then there is little that a psychologist can do. True or false?
That's false.
Okay, yeah. So you can sort of help them through the...
Yeah. So basically, like I said, like psychologists work hand in hand with physiotherapists, occupational therapists, doctors, to help patients manage the psychological symptoms associated with OA, but also to help them across, like, because there's a person is made up of so many things and there's so many different things happening in their life. So I think the best type of care is not to say, oh, okay, this person has OA and therefore needs only a physiotherapist, or this person has a mental health condition and therefore needs a psychologist, but rather to look at all the different things holistically. So and figure out a formulation or like a treatment that
sort of has all of these different elements in it.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting.
I would like to add something over here. So a lot of patients who come to me, a few of them, even after, you're constantly treating them with physiotherapy, they are just so sad and they're like, I just cannot do this. मुझे ये problem है. They will start thinking about problems which do not exist also. So in this case, of course, it's a very holistic approach and everybody, like, we all work hand in hand. So in this case, we also tell patients to visit a counselor or to take some help, because we very well know that condition is taken care of, but there are other things which are not. So in that, we definitely
do need to work together.
Yeah, it's always a group which makes a person better.
That's what
right? It's a holistic approach. no individual will be able to take care of one person completely when it comes to our field.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's exactly what you said, right? Everyone is a sum of so many different things happening at the same time. You have your work, you have your home life, you have your relationships, you have your, it could be that you have, comorbidities and so many other things as well, right? So it's true, when we try to diagnose and treat somebody with just one thing, you really do have to look at all the other aspects of life as well. So interesting. So I want to ask you also, Dr. Soni, firstly, weather makes osteoarthritis worse. Is this true or false?
I would say it is not completely false. It's not completely true also. So I have seen patients complaining of abhi thandi hai na, to mera joint thoda tight hai. So it is again, some people do experience genuine stiffness when it is cold, and for some people it's just a mental block.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So they just come and they tell you that, okay, my joint is feeling stiff because it is cold. Then in the summer also their joint will be feeling stiff. So in that case they need to exercise and do nothing else, and they are very lazy and they don't want to exercise. That is why the joint is stiff throughout. But otherwise, in some cases, yes, joint stiffness does occur in senior citizens when it is cold.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then what would help with that? So then you can't, like in Bombay, we don't really have much of a winter. So you're not going to be walking around with sweaters and things like that. So then how do you counter the stiffness? I mean, how do you counter the impact of the weather?
Mumbai does not really have
It doesn't have a
winters
winter, it
as
doesn't.
such.
So people with OA are not going to be affected by it.
So when it comes to OA,
That's
we
got to
tell
be a nip
patients.
in the air.
When it comes to OA, we tell patients, like if it's an early OA, like if the degeneration has just started, we tell patients to apply ice to their joint. If cold will deteriorate the condition, why would a physio recommend icing at the first
That
place?
is very interesting. Yes, why?
Because icing reduces inflammation.
Right.
So that is why I said it is partially true and it is partially false as well.
Very interesting.
Not all patients are the same. Not all patients get better with icing. Not all patients get better with heating. I have seen patients coming with so much more pain and inflammation after they have taken hot packs. So it's different from person to person.
So then what should one do? Hot packs, cold packs? What works?
So it depends on your symptoms. Again, if the patient is presenting a lot of pain and inflammation and redness around the joint, in that case, icing is the solution. If it is a very chronic case with severe knee stiffness, like it's been years of osteoarthritis, in that case, when the joint is extremely tight and stiff, so the muscles around the joint require heating so that it will improve the flexibility of the muscles. So again, it differs from person to person.
I see.
So
Very
tailor-made
interesting.
solution for every patient.
As you said.
Yeah.
Yes, got that. And Aisha, family and support groups are not really a factor when it comes to osteoarthritis treatment. True or false?
False. I think they're a really big factor, but they're a factor in that they need to be aware of their role, and their role might be doing nothing, but they need to be aware of it. Because I think usually family, like we discussed, like family everyone wants to be there for your loved one, and so sometimes just even being aware, like, okay, I'm there for them, but I don't have to do everything for them, because actually I'm helping them by not doing. So it's of course good to be there for them, like emotionally and psychologically and things like that, but I think physically there's room for allowing independence. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we covered a lot of very interesting ground today. Thank you so much, Aisha. Thank you so much, Dr. Soni. The thing is that, I mean, we talk about this episode is about senior citizens, but all through life, it's so important to be independent, and it's so important to be able to enjoy your life. And I think it's so nice that we covered such important ground today. As I said, we've talked about supplements, exercises that you can do, and it really makes one think that it's possible to live with a good quality of life even when you are older. There's no need to sort of to just assume that you have to live with this pain and suffering. As you said, the choice is yours. For more expert insights on holistic healing, follow us at Honestly Speaking at 360 Plus. We're here to help you take control of your joint health with informed choices. Share this episode with someone who could benefit from it, and let's take this first step towards living a pain-free life. Thank you.